Michael Planey joins me now. He's an aviation expert and co-founder and principal consultant for HM Planey Consultants. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Now, is the airline industry similar to the car industry, where it's okay and perfectly fine to have multiple models of the same type of vehicle?
There's a very large global aviation market. Having more competitors with the same type of aircraft is actually probably good for the consumers in the long run. It's certainly good for the airlines. More competition should lead to greater innovation in technology, should also lower the cost to the airlines for these aircraft.
How significant is the launch of this new plane, and what are you looking for as we are waiting for this maiden flight to take place?
It's a very significant development. Commercial airframers or commercial aircraft builders are among the most technically advanced industries in the world. It's a real breakthrough for China to be able to put this size of an aircraft into commercial service. You won't see any passengers flying on it for as many as maybe 2 years. It's going to have to undergo a very rigorous set of testing. This is just the first flight. You'll see some very unusual things. They probably will never retract the landing gears because they'll fly around for that first 90 minutes because they're not testing the landing gear retraction yet. They're basically testing the basic airworthiness of the aircraft, making sure that all the systems are correct and that what was intended to happen is actually happening. They'll move on to more rigorous testing of all of the subsystems at a later date.
2 years, though, can go by very fast when you consider the future of China's air travel market and all the airports that we know are going to be built in the next several years.
Yes, absolutely. I think what you'll see is a series of milestones that are progressing one upon another. They are starting already at the launch airline, China Eastern, to make preparations because, like you said, 2 years can go by very quickly. Not only will the COMAC have to make their own preparations to get the aircraft certified, the airline that's operating it as the launch customer has to go through a number of procedures to get themselves ready. They have to make sure that the airports and the jet bridges all fit the way that they're intended to. They have to make sure their staff are trained on the use of this aircraft versus traditional Boeing or Airbus aircraft. They then have to make sure that all of the systems are loaded into their computer programming so that the operation systems know how to tell the difference between one aircraft and the next, that their ticket agents and gate agents know that I'm selling a ticket on this aircraft versus a different aircraft. It's an exceptionally complex process for both the manufacturer and for the launch airline.
What does this do? We know that it will grow.
Yes.
Within China. China wants to end its reliance on Airbus, Boeing, even though they've made a huge investment in those two companies, buying hundreds of planes. But when it comes to selling this particular plane outside of the country, what does that do to the competition?
That's really the billion-dollar question, or the $100 billion question, quite frankly. The Chinese aviation market, just domestically, will be enough to, if COMAC can take 10% or 20% of that market over the next 10 years, that's enough to cause a substantial dip in earnings for both Boeing and Airbus. As you said, the Chinese aviation market is projected to be the largest domestic travel market within the next 10 to 15 years, surpassing even the United States. The need for those aircraft are going to be growing. They're going to need to continue to purchase aircraft from everyone just to meet the demand of all of the passengers that will be flying. But the question is going to be, when they try to move the aircraft beyond the Chinese borders, who will the customers be? Who will the first international customers be? There's growing aviation demand globally at this point. China may be growing the fastest, but it's growing everywhere simultaneously. Africa is certainly ripe for expansion with commercial airlines. South America, even though they're going through consolidation right now of all of the carriers, the demand is still growing, so there will be more flying there. There's a lot of opportunity, but it rests upon the success of this aircraft when it's launched in commercial service with China Eastern.
A lot of eyes watching China here in
Absolutely.
the next few hours. Michael Planey, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.